Thank you, Jose Manuel. Thank you for hosting us in Barcelona. So, dear Minister Safadi, dear Ayman, you have been co-chair not with one, not with two, but actually three high representatives. So, but unlike the famous song by Juan Manuel Serrat, I was not born on the Mediterranean, rather the Baltic Sea. This is something completely new, but also a physical sign that the geographic differences no longer count, as the world is more interconnected as we are right now. Dear Secretary General Kamel De Nasser, we met earlier this year to discuss some of the topics we are here to discuss today, and including how we can work better together for a stronger Euro-Mediterranean partnership. This is the theme of today's regional forum. And it is a genuine pleasure to welcome Syria back to the UFM. The coming year will be important to consolidate international support for Syria, how to help Syria on their necessary reforms they need to do in order to have inclusive democratic society. And I will make sure that it will stay high on the European agenda. It is great to be here in my first regional forum, and I would like to start with three observations. First observation, Mediterranean cooperation via the Barcelona process and then formalized with the Union for the Mediterranean has achieved a lot already. In 3 short decades, we have seen the modest actions can make a big difference in people's lives, from small grants injecting cash to companies, training centers and local organizations, to business fora supporting female entrepreneurs in the region. We're also seeing that big actions make big difference, especially when you focus on vital sectors such as water. Water is clearly life, and this is, for this region, especially important. Work on water management, as we see in Egypt and Jordan, for example, reflects the true spirit of the UFM. Aside from supporting small and large-scale projects, the UFM has another important quality that has helped to achieve a lot. It is the only platform that gathers all EU member states and all Mediterranean partners. It wields immense convening power. Whether we are talking about ministerial meetings, civil society gatherings, meetings of international financial institutions, or think tank events, the UFM has brought together well over 10,000 stakeholders around the Mediterranean. And this has always been the added value of this organization. And it's truly impressive for a region as diverse as this is. But anniversaries are as much about reflecting what comes next as they are about celebrating endurance. Which brings me to my second observation. Since the Barcelona process was launched, the region has changed beyond recognition. So too has the world. Even since the last major revision of the UFM in 2017, today's realities are not yet reflected in the way the organization works. But even within the years since last year's forum, the situation has shifted again. United Nations Security Council resolution on an international stabilization force for Gaza presents a real opportunity for long-term peace in the region. It enjoys global support, and this is key. Securing the peace will require all hands on deck, and there is a role for everyone. Aside from our support to the Palestinian Authority, the European Union will continue to push for humanitarian aid to reach people in Gaza and be ready to mobilize our resources. I have engaged myself personally for months to ensure Gaza receive humanitarian aid, and I will continue engaging. We also have 2 important missions that support a border management and police training on the ground, EUBAM Rafah and EUPOL COPS. These are already playing an instrumental role, and I'm working with the EU partners to reinforce their presence in the future. For Europe, Russia's invasion of Ukraine is our existential crisis, but the ripple effect is global. A 2025 UFM report also recognized the profound impact of Russia's war of UFM countries. And let us not forget that Russia tested military tactics and equipment in Syria that it would later use in Europe. Putin boasted on testing over 320 weapon systems in the country, and many Russian army commanders currently leading the troops in Ukraine gained combat experience in Syria. It is in our all interest that this war ends, but how it ends also matters. In the last 100 years, Russia has attacked more than 19 countries, some as many as 3 or 4 times. None of these countries has ever attacked Russia. There are really wars where the situation is so clear-cut. Here we have one aggressor and one victim. We need the widest international coalition pushing back against the Russian aggressor, and I call on the members of the UFM to support this. If aggression pays off somewhere, it is an invitation to use it elsewhere. This is in no one's interest. The third observation, it is not a coincidence that as global security diminishes, the odds are stacked against multilateral fora like the UFM. Multilateralism has never before been under such intense pressure. This is precisely why we need it. This is the area so many international organizations really built for. But the UFM needs a revision and a vision. We will hear from Secretary General Kamel on this next, and I don't want to preempt what he will say, but I'd like to share a couple of more thoughts. Trade. Trade is an area where there is a huge regional imbalances that the UFM could help right. If we look at the total amount of trade involving all our countries, 90% of it takes place within the European Union, 9% between EU and our southern neighbors, and only 1% between the southern neighbors. From talks on reducing non-tariff barriers to promoting sustainable cross-border investment, the UFM can serve as a platform to push for collective change. Transport is another example. A well-connected land, air and maritime transport network is also vital for boosting trade as well as mobility and investment. The UFM can work closer with the financial institutions to encourage much more investment in this area. Dear colleagues, the UFM was built from the idea that political differences should not stand in the way of bettering our countries, regions and societies. It was designed to convene, encourage collective thinking and produce solutions that work for all involved. You will not find a stronger advocate for this kind of work than the European Union. Because we know it works, and while the world is changing, international norms are being trampled on, the basic fact remains that we are all stronger when we work together. And that is what we are here for. And we expect you to be here for that too. Thank you.